And the other thing is, oh, look at the little finchies. Little finchies. Little redhead. Hey, Chucks. Hey, Brookie Mugs. Chucks. Hey, come up here, buddy. Come up here, little buddy. Big gubby little boy. Come on, Chuck. Jump up here. Say hello to him. Come up here, buddy. The big monkey. Chuck, I got you. I got you. Chuck. Hey, hey. And oh shit, there goes my fucking sequoia seeds. God damn it. I found these buds under the sequoia seeds in the botanical gardens, so I'm gonna try to. I had the little seeds because they release slowly. You leave them in the sun, and then you collect all the little seeds, and you go and plant them. But yeah, the wind is blowing away. So, there's more. They bring more every day, and yeah. But can anyone feel that the spring vibes? Can anyone feel that? Feel this, the 1st of September. It's funny. It's around my birthday. I really like after my birthday, and then it just goes like spring. And that in the northern hemisphere would be fall. It would be different up there where we come from, as Europeans anyway, where astrology mostly was developed, and received and sort of worked on. So Virgo is the fall really, but down here in fucking Oz, it's backwards, it's different. So it's the other thing about astrology, which is really what it's really essentially about, it's a deeper layer of it anyway, is the seasons and the changes of relating to that, and yeah, it's all different and backwards and underneath here in Australia because it's the opposite hemisphere, so it's like yeah, it's different. But yeah, you can feel that spring coming, the life coming back. You can feel the sun getting stronger. You can really feel like, and you're just coming out of that fucking winter vibes. Get 'em, buddy. And some rabbits down here I like to chase. And yeah, so it's different to what would be and always was the fall. Is it'd be going cold now in the northern hemisphere. It'd be like, oh, winter's coming. So yeah, it's different down here in Oz. I always love it. It just feels like coming out of a fucking deep depression. You have this like depressive, and people talk about depression as like a condition and this and that, and the psychiatry co-ops that, and plays into that. But in the ancient world, depression was a Saturnian. Shut up, crow, you fucker. Is a Saturnian calling into a deepening and a facing, the dark shadows of Saturn, of time and death, and the limitations of life, and yeah, the inevitability of death, and dealing with that, more squarely and honestly, and coming out of the the illusions of childhood and the pleasure principle, which is kind of the opposite of time, which is kind of the ruler of this world, because it has to work very much with the reality principle rather than the pleasure principle. So it's yeah, and if we've lived our life for the pleasure principle, it can be confronting to come out of that and to face the reality principle, especially for women who are more geared naturally towards the pleasure principle and towards like the inner processes which are not necessarily connected to that. They don't deal with directly the reality principle. It's more of the pleasure principle in raising children and having kids and dealing with that, which is it's needed. You need that, because that's the eros, that love, that spark of love for life, and that you need that. But yeah, at some point, and usually after Saturn, we come into dealing with, the reality principle and limitations and death and time and the know, and really understanding what that means for us individually, and that's your Saturn return. But yeah, depression, it's not a thing. It's a process of the soul and deepening that's happening. So that's what I think about it. People have other ideas, and I think psychiatry teaches that it's a condition and it's chemicals in the brain, which is a joke, really, because they've proven now that most of the serotonin comes from your gut, so depression's probably just a syndrome of your gut. You not literally have a healthy gut biome, and yeah, so deal with your diet and your gut biome, and you probably get out of that. But yeah, psychiatry with its wonderful potions and pharmakeia that it concocts, with the Rockefeller Petroleum fucking souped up gear that they use, is part of that too. So, look, I don't have a problem with, people what they want to do, what works for them, but, when they start to subvert original ideas, like psychology and, things, and they, steer them off in disingenuous directions and then get people trapped and locked in, syndromes and cycles that are not healthy for them and not empowering. I'm like, nah, I'm not going along with this, so there we are, it's, and it's the age-old thing of, get ready. Not being connected to nature. All pathology really ultimately comes from lack of connection to nature, which is spirit. Nature is visible spirit, and spirit is invisible nature. It's the thing that is the communion with reality, and I think all the modern accoutrements and the technological advancements help us, escape the reality principle and remove ourselves from nature, and we go back to the matrix. We get back into the womb. It's a womb metaphor of all the technology and everything, the housing, the apartment, all that takes us away from nature, the city and so forth. It's all removed, it's all a womb-like regression, so we become, we regress, we become like children. It's like going back into the womb, in a way. And so all these systems sort of co-opt this, consciously or unconsciously. It just seems to be the model, and then that's the whole, making the father bad. This whole, push to the feminism, and not in a healthy sense, but in a sense of men are bad and the father's bad, and all that, which all these things happen naturally, but that doesn't mean that they're good, so we move away from the reality principle. We'll make the reality principle and what the male represents that, because male, since Atlantis, deals directly with the reality principle. So we know that's bad. We just, go to girls, and then the father and the masculine principle is just denied, and then we can just have all this crazy spurious shit. And we think it's great because we're in La La Land, and next thing you know, we're fucking, taken over, and out of control and complete victims and have no power. And here we are, so yeah, the return to the masculine principle is, gonna be where it's at. And then, you know, obviously blending those, you know, the masculine and feminine. I posted a video the other day about a monk who could he would like start fireballs with his hand, or to get shit on fire, and like, you know, zap electricity and shit, like really massive, you know, powers from just, he said it was from meditating on the yin and the yang, and he talked about it being at the navel and the perineum, and that there was the yin and the yang, and mixing the two, he talks about you can have these incredible powers. And ultimately it does come back to that, you know, is it about harnessing the masculine and feminine powers in a balanced way? It's all about that. And you know, that's kind of the theme for today, Mercury's day, because Mercury's the sign of the psychopomp, which is Mercury, which is a you know, like Mercury and Gemini, they're both what's the word, androgynous signs, in that they're not strictly male or female as such, you know, so they understand the blending of the male and female. They represent that, which the first 2 days, Moon Day, Monday, Mars Day, a male and female signs, and then the third day is a blended sign. So it's like blending the two poles within oneself is what gives birth to the power to travel the universe, the power of God, Goddess, the creation principle is liberated and balanced and harmony, you know. So yeah, all of creation is basically going through this process of individualizing as a pole and becoming one or the other, separating from one source, you know, coming from the monad and individuating into poles, masculine or feminine, blending and opposing, and, you know, creating this tension, and then coming together and resolving and balancing and integrating and blending and marrying, you know. So it's like it's an alchemical wedding that's happening throughout all creation and inside of ourselves. And the more we can do that within ourselves, the more we become whole and return our essence to the universe and to knowledge and to the monad, and become, you know, liberated and, you know, and one with the essence and the source. So that's kind of the vibes for today. Yeah, so it is what it is, man. But yeah, that's the little thing for today. Mercury's day, third ray day, and yeah, it's the 3rd today of September, which is, you know, the energy of the 3, which is exactly that, you know, it's the two forces that harmonize and then form a trinity that then spin. You know, that's why divinity is a trinity. It's either upward flowing masculine, polar, solar, or downward flowing negative yin, feminine, downward flowing pole, and they spin in opposite directions. And when they come together and they spin together on opposite directions, the 3 and the 6 becomes a 9, and they can, you know, it's the Merkaba. It can move anywhere. So that's the kind of like the science of the magical vehicle of the Merkaba, which is a thing that has to be created through love. You know, it can't be created by force. And this is the whole Martian thing, you know, and the Hebrews who, you know, or the Jews brought that technology and that understanding, you know, and so that's the original, you know, the little finchies, hey, little buddies, they're quite magical because they can fly, you know. They're quite a high being, you know, really, from the animals. They can fly. Hey, look at him. red. I hate putting the little red, like, red sunnies on. Red finch, they're so cute. There's heaps of them. Anyway, so, yeah, that can be the focus today. You know, 3, it's about harmony and movement and divine expression. So hopefully, you can find that today, and you feel that. And yeah, you can be in the celebration of creation of this beautiful gift of what it is, and you know, hopefully, you know, and I'm sure everyone, you know, depending on where you're at, you probably got shit you gotta do as well, you know, and they just try to keep your mind in a prayerful state, you know, like gratitude, reverent, you know, wonder and awe-inspired way, you know, until fucking 12, when the day shifts and we head into the sunset, you know, and then the dark sun principle starts to rule. It's the other thing about astrology it explains, and the Egyptians talked about sunset and sunrise, and Ra and Osiris and Horus and Set, and this battle that we're in. It's just recognizing and understanding the poles of the day. So, you know, from sunrise 6 a.m. to 12 noon is Horus's time. You know, that's a really pure, the beautiful pure energy of the sun as it goes through the 12th house and the 11th house and into the 10th. And then at 12 p.m. when Ra rules, well, actually it heads down to the sunset point where Set rules, which is the darkness begins to slowly gain power, and in sunset where it gains victory. And so it's like, you know, it's literally from 12 that you start to the more the malefic solar principle kicks in at 12, and then it's like yeah, just the battling frequency of sort of conquering that innocent light begins at sort of 12 p.m. So, you know, you can restructure your day ideally around this with awareness and knowledge. That's why knowledge is so important, because it gives us understanding of reality of what we're in this solar system. And you know, that's what the ancients taught. That's what all astrology is. And yes, oh, the little dead, what do you got there? Little dead rabby carcass. Look at her. And okay, you got some rabbit. Yeah, you're having a good time out here. Fortunately, we gotta go and go to the gym and go to the. I know, it's annoying, isn't it? I just wish we could just live a free life, but unfortunately, we're chained to the wheel down here because we got, you know, responsibilities and all that shit, which we don't. Responsibilities to the Matrix, man. Fucking Matrix, bro. Fuck that shit, man. Fuck that, bro. Fuck that, y'all. You know, it's the other point of where we're at, you know, processionally as an age, like late degrees Aquarius. There's a lot of Uranian, like, fuck the system, fuck it, I just want freedom, fuck it, everything's like this crazy battle around, you know, getting yourself free, you know, and we're all in different fucking stages of that, you know, and there'll just be the inevitability of that, you know, fucking highly charged frenetic Uranian battle of to just be yourself and be free, you know. And you've got a system and a world and responsibilities and time and all that. But again, we're not in that age. We're not in the Capricorn age. We're literally processing back through the Aqua age. So it's, you know, it's all about freedom and really becoming an individual that's fucking free, radically free, you know, and it doesn't feel comfortable. It's a battle, it's critical, it's a crisis, because we go backwards through the science. So it's like we're in a crisis of consciousness, really, as an age and as a time. And so every day you've really just got to do the battle of what it means for you to be free and to live that. So, you know, it's also a natural embrace of the radical, your own fight, you know, for your own life and your own freedom and what that means. So, you know. Anywho, but if you want to learn more about your own chart and to be fully self-aware of like every aspect of your natal chart and fully to know that, because it's such an empowering thing to just fully know yourself. And then it's like, you know, it's incredibly liberating, because it's like, it's just you coming home to yourself because you have knowledge of yourself, which is, you know, what all religions and all this shit, and even the modern, you know, what do we got, scientism and atheism and all that, is just another way to keep people from what was an initiatic path, which was a path of self-knowledge and self-realization and self-knowledge, which is what astrology is. It's yourself, you know, and the perfect ways that you were created by this incredible spin toroidal field and these incredibly large and potent solar forces in harmony and union with this lunar, you know, generative, liquid, fucking pregnancy principle of fucking nature, you know, and the incredibly powerful solar patterns that sort of emanate from the infinite above and the stars, the starry vault into this creation point. It shows exactly how that looks for you and gives you that understanding of like, this is you, this is your gifts, this is your challenge, and it's just an incredible system. So I love sharing with people because it's like such a like, fucking hell, this is it, this is all I need to really know. And then once you know, then you go on your journey of like understanding the science itself, and then you can study the patterns that we're going through currently, you know, nationally, socially, and so forth, because you sort of understand the patterns. So, you know, it's an incredible thing, and it's fucking fun to do it, because I just feel like it's such a benefit to people. But you know, when something's meaningful, it gives you an energy as well, and I just think that's what astrology does to me, and I love sharing with people. So if you want to get your chart done, hit the link in the bio and subscribe and all of that, and the link will be in the bio where you can get like book a Zoom call and we can do your chart. I can explain all that, and then you know, do the course as well if you want to learn more, so you can do that. And yeah, start to know yourself, fully know yourself, and realize yourself, and liberate yourself, you know, get on the journey, man. So yeah, all right, enjoy, bye bye.